Okay. Well, I'm a software developer since 2007. It has been. I always worked as a software developer on the Java stack. Since 8 years ago, I have been working with this approach, separating the front end and the back end, and I work on the back end side using technologies, mainly using Spring Boot for the projects, and other Spring packages like Spring Data and Spring REST for the APIs. On the year of 2019, I worked for IBM. That was the first time I worked for a company outside of Brazil. At that time, I was part of the team that was making software changes for the merge between T-Mobile and Sprint, the mobile companies. There, my work were mainly using Java and Spring for the backend and Angular for the front end, but there were other technologies on Java world that were older, like AGBs and monolithic applications using JSP, JSF. There were a lot of different systems, and my team made small changes on each one. We were a team of 4 developers, being 2 people from India and me and another one from Brazil. All the communication was in English at this team, and we used Scrum as the developer framework, let's say Agile framework, the Scrum. So we had the meetings, the daily meetings, and the planning meetings at the start of each sprint. We did not did reviews at this position, right? And after that, I moved to another company, Stefanini, and I worked for the Dell, the computer manufacturer company. And there I was responsible for developing new functionalities and doing bug fixes on systems that were written on Java for the backend and the Angular framework for the front end, but most of my work were on the backend side. And it has this very common architecture using Spring for Spring Boot to start the web services and Spring Data to interact with the database. It runned on the cloud, okay, but my part was only to develop it and start the Jenkins process, and this Jenkins process did the deploys on the cloud environment. I did some courses about the cloud computing where I could see in more deeper details, specifically for the Pivotal Cloud, which is another company. It's a cloud like AWS, but from the Pivotal company, the company that made the Spring, right? The Spring framework. So I know the concepts of using the cloud. If I need to, for instance, make a new instance inside AWS, I know how it works and how I could start a Docker container and configure it. But on my day-by-day work, I'm not a DevOps person. So what I do is develop code and publish on the cloud. Sometimes I have to log in on AWS to see logs and to access database records. This kind of stuff I do on my professional work. But this other part of configuring the cloud and setting up the cloud environment, I just did for studying purpose. So I choose to focus on these 2 opportunities because they were international, but on Brazilian companies, I work on a lot of different projects, and almost all of them on the last 8 years are using the backend structure, having Spring for the backend and running on different clouds. Most of the time using Amazon Cloud, but sometimes using Azure too, sometimes using OpenShift. But my role on the team always is a developer, the person that is fixing bugs or developing new functionalities, being the new microservices sometimes, or when the application is not based on microservices, doing new functionalities. And That's what I have been doing on the last 8 years. Yes, for sure. Just to mention, everything I said about the everything that uses Spring on my experience were an API, So when I talked about this experience, is a way building APIs with endpoints. So that was something I forgot to to make clear. Okay. Well, those certifications, some of them were issued at IBM when I was an employee from IBM. So there we had a goal to study about 18 hours per year. I always studied more than that. So most of those certifications come from this time at IBM. And nowadays, what I'm studying is front-end frameworks. That's something funny because when I started my career, I started as a full-stack developer because Java was there were not this separation between the front-end and the back-end. So we did everything using Java. And with time, naturally, I became a back-end developer, but I still like to develop some front-ends. And currently, this week I'm studying React Native to make some mobile applications. So I'm studying this way. So I build a small and simple application that is useful for something, and I publish it on the App Store for iPhone and the Play Store for Android. Currently, I have one developed already, which was not built on React Native but with Kotlin multi-platform. So I had to build some part. The Android part was in Kotlin and the iPhone part was on Swift, which is the language for developing for iPhone. This application is an application for you to call people on WhatsApp without having to save them on your contact list, So you just type the phone and it opens WhatsApp. And this one I'm developing now is a simple application to control finances. So every time you spend some money, you put it there, a category and a name, and it's stored on the application. So it's something I think is very funny to study this way. So I'm focused on those technologies right now. Sometimes I have to integrate these applications with backends too, but it's something I like to try, and I got a lot of fun on the process. SOA, oh yes, for sure. Well, about the solid and clean code principles is something I use. Currently on my job we have the Sonar, which is a tool to verify if the code has some degree of quality. So it has some policies that Sonar applies. And it's very good because I'm always learning new things about Solid, because there are a lot of practice and Sonar helps me a lot on understanding. But I see myself as a people that writes good code, but there is always something more to learn, and I'm always trying to learn about that. And when you say about SOA, you mean the services oriented architecture, right? For sure, that's is very part of the work on today applications, because when we are integrating a front end and a back end using API, it's a way to making services oriented architecture. And on the past, I worked with old SOAP web services, which were built using XML. Nowadays I work using JSON on REST APIs, which is something more modern and more common on the market today. So are things I'm very used to use on my day-by-day activities. Okay, well, I have a lot of them. Behind me, I don't know if you can see, but there are some musical instruments, a guitar, a drum, a bass. So I make some songs on my own. I like cars too, so I have a Beetle there, an old car. I like to travel, I like to swim, but I don't have time to do all my hobbies, but I try. For 1 week I'm playing guitar, another week I'm on the road traveling, another week I'm on the pool swimming. So I like to make different activities to not get bored, you know. So programming is the only activity that I do many hours per day and every day. But my hobbies, I try to make different things. I like to eat too. That's something I love to eat. And funny food, let's say pizza, burger, and something like that. Okay, well, in fact, I think that this resume is with an error. Because this company, DBC, I'm working there since, let's say we are, before October we had August. I'm working there since August. No, September, sorry. And this start date is from my previous company, Stefanini. But when I was updating my resume, I forgot to change, and the tech recruiter from the one that sent you my resume, she said that she was the one that told me that there was this error, but I guess she gives you the wrong. But just to say, I'm working on DBC now. It is a temporary position, you know, so I'm looking for an international position now, because I see the international career as the next step on my path to grow. Because on Brazilian companies there are a limit of money we can make as a programmer, and on international market I see that is a lot of more opportunities to make money, keeping being a developer, you know, not having to switch to a leadership position or something like that. So this is the main reason, and the secondary reason is using English on my everyday activities, because currently I'm working for a Brazilian company and I'm not using my English day by day, so that's something I see as a growth path for my career. So if I switch for another company, I will make more money and use English on my day by day, which will make me ready for future opportunities on the global market. Because I believe that the dream of every Brazilian developer today is to work for international companies and sometimes start making money in dollars or euros and have a great lifestyle in Brazil, you know, too. So that's the main reason. Esse nome não me é estranho. Acho que é negócio de Fórmula 1, não é? Tem um patrocinador, não tem? Ah, sim, é verdade. Mas eu não sei o que eles fazem, não. Eu só conheço de nome. Certo, deixa eu fazer as contas aqui em dólar, né? Vou só abrir a calculadora aqui, mas seria negociável sim, né? Daria pra gente negociar, que aí seria interessante, porque daí abaixo disso já não compensaria pra mim mudar, entendeu? Apesar que hoje eu tô recebendo, vamos dizer assim, tô recebendo em brasileiro, né? Em português, em moeda real, mas aí precisaria, porque aí tem a questão dos impostos e tal, né? Mas seria uma nessa faixa, daria pra gente negociar, assim, eu ficaria bem feliz. Que é bem o que eu tô buscando, tanto PJ quanto pagamento em moeda forte, né? Certo, não, quanto a isso não teria problema. Então tem um dia de fechamento, né? Aí pega a cotação daquele dia. Certo, perfeito. E aí eu emito a nota também em reais, né? Não é uma nota internacional. Certo, fica até mais fácil. Maravilha, tranquilo. Não, acredito que só uma questão, né, seria sobre acho que tudo que a gente conversou aqui, a única coisa que eu não entendi foi assim, se teria uma previsão de início, assim, mais ou menos, para quando seria. Certo, no momento eu estou com a disponibilidade imediata, né? Já finalizei as atividades principais e eu estou só dando suporte, né, nessas entregas, então eu conseguiria iniciar assim quanto antes.